Thanks for joining us here on 9 News Plus. I'm meteorologist Chris Bianchi and giving you a quick update on some of the storms, severe thunderstorms, and more importantly, the flooding that is impacting the south side of the metro area. Flash flood warning just issued for Lone Tree, Castle Pines, and Castle Rock. So that'd be most of the south side of the metro area. Let's take a look here at HD Doppler radar, which is showing those showers and storms covering a good chunk of the state, but a kind of closer look in here at the metro area, and it's the south side of the metro area that is really seeing the heavy rainfall right now, including that flash flood warning that has been issued for parts of Douglas County, as well as for the southern sliver of Arapahoe County. So that would be Highlands Ranch, Lone Tree, Castle Rock, Castle Pines, Sedalia on north into the Lone Tree area, where in some cases, I was just taking a look at some of the rainfall totals from the area. We've seen as much as 1.9 inches worth of rainfall in 30 minutes. Folks, that is a ton of water in a short period of time. That is more than enough to cause serious flooding. So if you're traveling on the Gap or anywhere between Castle Rock and the DTC, folks, if you can, stay off of the roads for the next hour or so. It is nasty out there. Blinding rain, not just typical afternoon showers and thunderstorms. This is serious stuff. In fact, I just turned on the lightning here for you. It gives us an idea about the amount of energy within the storm. And there's just a ton of it, and it's really just kind of exploded here in the last hour. And then here's a look at HD Doppler radar's rain estimate, where you're seeing those blues, especially that light shade of blue. That's what we've seen in some cases. This is according to the Doppler estimate, over an inch of rainfall. Almost all of that has come within the last hour. So again, the rain is seriously coming on down. Flash flood warning now in place for Douglas County, as well as the southern sliver of Arapahoe County, including Lone Tree, Castle Rock, and Castle Pines. So as we head over the next few hours, and if you're joining us from the Denver area, I will zip on in here on the Denver area on my next graphic, but wide view, showers and thunderstorms will continue to kind of budge the way north and east as we head over the next 2 to 3 hours. So Denver right now, it's mostly calm. Starting to see a few raindrops outside of our studios here at Spear and Logan in downtown Denver. That rain will pick on up for us as we head over the next few hours. The worst of the flood threat, I think, in the immediate metro area is going to be between now and about 6, maybe 6:30 or so. So we've got maybe 3-ish hours to go, and then things really do calm on down. And by the way, they'll calm down for tonight and for the rest of the week. So this is really the only day this week we're dealing with this kind of rainfall. So if you're maybe moving an appointment, even a happy hour, something like that for tonight, don't worry, the rest of the week looks okay. It's just tonight and the next couple of hours that we're dealing with rainfall that is going to be this bad. Now, again, 6:30, that's when we transition over to what I would call the good news rain. This is the rain we like. This is just kind of good old-fashioned rainy weather, great sleeping weather, good for the drought, good for everything, right? The kind of rain we want, not the flooding rainfall where it's just too much water in too short of a time span. It just leads to, obviously, a lot of potential downsides to that. But as we head over the nighttime time frame, we're going to see a decent amount of rainfall. It's just going to come in much slower increments and just not, again, that flood threat that we're dealing with right now. By the time we wake up tomorrow morning, maybe a few leftover raindrops, but we're mostly over and done with the rainfall. So right now, again, South Metro getting hammered really from C470 on south in particular. DTC, I would say 225 on south and east is getting the worst of it right now. Downtown, okay for right now, but watch here as we get to about 5:30. Some of those showers and storms do try and creep a little bit further north. So we're not out of the woods yet here in Denver. If you're joining us from downtown, you're looking outside, you're seeing a lot of dark skies, some wind, maybe a few raindrops, nothing too significant yet. Don't lose sight. Don't let your guard down yet here downtown. I think the worst of the flood threat will continue to be south of I-70, but north of I-70, there does remain a flood threat over the next few hours. But again, the flood threat will be highest south of I-70. And then by about, again, 7, 8 tonight, that's when we transition over to the good news rain. Again, you don't need to water your lawn kind of rain. It's just light to moderate rainfall, great for sleeping, all that good stuff, right? And then by tomorrow morning, we'll wake up to just some cloudy skies and a few leftover raindrops. So here's an estimate about how much rain we might expect here. In fact, I'm going to just push this back just a little bit here. Don't take these exact numbers verbatim. Notice how Parker, for example, you've got 1.12 inches worth of rainfall. Almost all of that is going to come in an hour or less. So it's not so much the rainfall amounts or exactly where you get the rain. The point here, and the reason I'm showing you this map, is we're going to be talking about Very, very heavy rainfall in very localized areas. So similar to the I-70 City Park flood that we had last Sunday, not everybody is going to get the heavy rainfall. In fact, most of the metro area is not going to be talking about flooding rain, but where we do get the flooding rainfall, that it's going to be an issue. It's going to be a real issue as we head over the next couple of hours. And as a result, there is that flood watch that covers much of the metro area. In fact, a closer look in here, I'm going to kind of, give me 1 second here. I'm going to take a closer look in here so you can take a closer look at the flash flood warning that's in place. Flood watch, that means conditions are favorable for flash flooding. That includes most of the metro area. It does not include downtown Denver, but most of the metro area is under this flash flood watch. But a closer look in here in purple, that is our flash flood warning. That is where we are seeing flash flooding right now, or it's imminent. That includes basically most of Douglas County, I should say northern Douglas County, and again, there's a little southern sliver of Arapahoe County that is included within that right now as well. Then a little bit further north, I haven't talked about this yet and don't want to overlook our friends on up in Larimer County. This would be the Cameron Peak burn scar, where we do have a flash flood warning that is in place. We've seen some Doppler radar estimates of 2 inches plus worth of rainfall, and in some cases here, maybe even a bit more than that. And then just west of Loveland, this is right around Drake, where we do have a flash flood warning that's been issued for that area as well. So again, flash flood warnings for Douglas County as well as for parts of Larimer County. That would be for the Cameron Peak burn scar. But back over here for a quick second to the statewide radar, where we do have, again, a lot of action statewide at this point. Lots and lots of lightning. And I'm going to kind of zip on in here a little bit here on the Denver area. Look at all that lightning just sparking on up over the last 2 to 3 hours or so, and it's really covering most of the metro area, the south metro area at this point. So heavy rainfall, lots of lightning. Might even see some small hail within there. I know Conifer had up to about nickel-sized hail earlier on. Right now, that lightning and the heavy rainfall are my two primary concerns. Obviously, stay indoors as these storms push their way through the south side of the metro area. Downtown, nothing for us yet other than the few raindrops that could and probably will change over the next couple of hours. And then traveling up I-25 right now, Greeley getting a little bit of a storm right now, not as bad as what we're seeing on the south side of the metro area. And then there are some of those storms over Estes Park and into the Rocky Mountain National Park area, as well as through the Cameron Peak burn scar. Watch out, obviously, in that area as we're talking about flash flooding that is moving its way through your vicinity. But all eyes right now, and we're going to take a closer look in here. And we're actually going to turn off the lightning here for a quick second so you can get a better view of what we're seeing in terms of heavy rainfall. And I'll pause this for you as well. So this is the heavy rainfall that we're seeing right now. Heaviest on C470, that'd be roughly between Highlands Ranch and Lone Tree, east into Centennial, Parker, especially the west side of Parker, so kind of west of Parker Road, getting some of that very, very heavy rainfall. Plum Creek Parkway on south here into Castle Rock. That's where we're seeing the real deal. Very, very heavy rainfall just pounding the region. I'm kind of concerned right now about Castle Rock and Castle Pines. You can just see right in there some of those dark reds, those dark oranges indicating some very heavy rainfall. By the way, brand new severe thunderstorm warning has just been issued by the Weather Service for the south side of the metro area. That's going to be for this storm, for this one right in here, for Highlands Ranch and Centennial and Lone Tree and Parker. Severe thunderstorm warning, that is going to be for the potential for up to 60-mile-an-hour winds, as well as some hail that could be as large as the size of a nickel. So the south side of the metro area under a severe thunderstorm warning right now. That does include Centennial, Highlands Ranch, Parker, as well as Lone Tree. So if you're joining us from that area, you're dealing with flash flood warning as well as a severe thunderstorm warning. So very strong winds, very heavy rainfall, lashing that part of Arapahoe County as well as northern and central parts of Douglas County. So you head south of the DTC here, folks. General rule of thumb right now, north of DTC, no big deal. Few raindrops, a little bit of outflow winds. No big deal for us north of DTC. South of DTC, totally, and I mean totally different story right now, with very heavy rainfall, some very strong winds, as well as the potential for flash flooding and also a ton of lightning accompanying all this action as well. Speaking of lightning, there's a look at it. Once again, closer look in here, again, south of the DTC, that heavy rain continuing to blast Centennial, Highlands Ranch, Lone Tree, Parker, as well as into the Castle Rock areas. And I'm just flipping through some of these storm reports that we've just gotten into us here at 9 News, and it looks like we've seen in some cases Arapahoe County Airport, by the way, just gusted up to 62 miles an hour. So I should say Centennial Airport there just gusted to 62 miles an hour. And we've seen in some cases in just about 15 minutes, about 2 inches worth of rainfall right near Sedalia. So that is a ton of water. That is similar to the amount of rainfall that we picked up last Sunday in the City Park I-70 area. So we're seeing that level of rainfall in some cases here when we're talking about, again, 2 inches worth of rainfall in 15 minutes. That is a ton of water. For a little bit of context, here in the Denver area, we average about 14, 15 inches of rain in a year. If you're getting more than 10% of that in 15 minutes, you probably don't need me to do the math for you. That's a big problem, and that's just too much water. We're in obviously a semi-arid climate. Pavement just can't absorb that kind of water. It's just too much water to absorb in that short of a time span. So just keep in mind here, folks, that we're talking about pretty unusual stuff here on the south side of the metro area. Avoid it from the DTC on south into Castle Rock, as we have the potential for some significant flash flooding that is, in some cases, pretty likely ongoing right now. Wait it out for the next hour or two. Things should get a little better out there by about 5, 6 o'clock. But right now, again, please here, folks, if you know somebody down there, give them a call, shoot them a text, say the weather guy said don't go outside, because you do not want to go, certainly driving, you don't want to go outside right now in this kind of very heavy rainfall. And also, again, there's a severe thunderstorm warning accompanying all this as well, with winds that could gust up to 65, maybe even 70 miles an hour. As I just mentioned, the Centennial Airport just gusted up to 62 miles an hour a few minutes ago. So lots going on. We will keep you posted here on 9 News Plus. Also, Chief Meteorologist Kathy Sabin will have updates coming up at 9 News at 4 o'clock, as well as at 5 o'clock. And meteorologist Lauren Robinson will have updates at 6, 9, and 10 tonight on the 9 News family of networks. Once again, I'm meteorologist Chris Bianchi. Stay safe out there. Flash flood warning, DTC on south. That's where we're talking about the real deal heavy rainfall right now, as well as those really strong winds. We'll have continued updates as needed. Thanks again for joining us. Hey, thanks so much for joining us once again here on 9 News Plus for another live update about the heavy rainfall we've been talking about across the south side of the metro area. Flash flood warning, severe thunderstorm warning in place for parts of Arapahoe and Douglas counties. Specifically, the areas of highest concern at this point would be Highlands Ranch, Centennial, Lone Tree, Castle Rock, Castle Pines, Parker. Those are the areas that are right now seeing the heaviest of the rainfall, as well as the highest concern for some strong winds, up to maybe even 70 miles an hour there on the south side of the metro area. Also kind of left out the DTC, so the southern tip of Denver, kind of Cherry Creek Reservoir area on south is where we're talking about the heaviest of the rain and those highest concerns for flash flooding at this hour. Let's take a look here at HD Doppler radar. We do have quite a bit of action right now here into the metro area. Actually going to start things off here and branch things back out with a statewide view. Got a lot of action across the state, but you might notice that little bit of extra clustering of lightning that's moving its way through the south side of the metro area, and that is certainly where we're seeing the not only heaviest of the rainfall, but also the worst of the winds right now would be across the south side of the metro area. I know I've seen lots and lots and lots of reports. By the way, thank you all for sending in great photos and videos of what's been going on out that way. Looks like some street flooding is ongoing in Highlands Ranch, Lone Tree, Centennial, Parker, and south into Castle Rock, Sedalia, as well as Castle Pines. And reason why you got these slow-moving storms trudging their way through those areas right now. And kind of closer look in here. I'm going to kind of zip on in here on Centennial and stop this for you so you can get a better view. Again, watch as these storms come in, 210, 250, and kind of zip ahead here to 330, and now these storms just trudging along. These are slow movers, and that's the concern here, folks, is that the storm's putting down a lot of water, and they're just not moving all that quickly, so that flood concern very, very much in play for much of the south side of the metro area. Bit of good news, though, kind of a little bit further north. I-70 on north, we've been mostly on the calm side here, and I would say from downtown Denver on north, our flash flood threat it remains, but we're probably going to be okay here from downtown Denver on north. Probably okay, not 100%, but it's south of I-70, and specifically 225 on south, where those highest concerns are right now. Flash flooding is ongoing in Parker, Centennial, Lone Tree, Highlands Ranch, Castle Rock, Castle Pines, Sedalia, all those areas. Seeing that right now. And a few rainfall totals coming in from that area of as much as 2.2 inches worth of rainfall in just an hour. DTC, by the way, 1.3 inches worth of rainfall in just 1 hour. That is more than enough water to produce some flash flooding. And again, I've been emphasizing the flood concerns here, but that's not the only thing we're talking about. A lot of lightning, a lot of wind, and we have a severe thunderstorm warning that is in place for northern Douglas County as well as western Arapahoe and even a little bit of Adams counties now. That's in place until 4:30 p.m. This evening, so the next 38 minutes or so. That severe thunderstorm warning in place for parts of Arapahoe, Adams, and Douglas counties. That's going to be for winds that could gust up to 70 miles an hour. I mentioned this about 20 minutes ago. We had a wind gust of 62 miles an hour at the Centennial Airport. So that is, again, now verified. We've seen some of those winds. Anything that's 58 miles an hour or above is considered to be a severe wind gust, and we had that at the Centennial Airport. The lightning right now clustered over the DTC on south into Parker, Centennial, lightning, Lone Tree, and that's where we're seeing, again, the majority of the lightning at this point. This is an estimate of the amount of water that we've seen. I know there's no legend right now with this just because I'm flipping within radar products, but I'll explain this to you right now, where you're seeing these kind of light shades of blue. That's where right in here, just to the west of Castle Rock and south of Highlands Ranch, that's where in these cases we've seen as much as 2 inches of rain. In some localized cases, perhaps a bit more than 2 inches worth of rainfall, and almost all of that has come within the last hour. And I mentioned this in my previous segment about 20 minutes ago. When we're getting this much water, just to put that into context, I know I'm throwing out a lot of numbers out here as we go back over to the radar picture. We're talking about 2 inches of rain in half an hour or less. For context, we in the Denver area, we pick up about 15 inches of rain a year. So that means you're getting 1/7 of what you typically get in a year in water. You're getting that in half an hour or less. It's just way too much water for the ground to handle in this short of a time span. So again, just hopefully this puts a little bit of context into that. I will say a little bit of good news here. I'm going to stop this one more time for you, kind of put the radar back into real motion right now. Within the last few scans, within the last half hour, 20 minutes, I have seen some weakening within some of these storms here on the south side of the metro area. And specifically in Douglas County, things are starting to improve a little bit, certainly for Castle Rock, Sedalia, Castle Pines, even Highlands Ranch. Probably the worst of it is just about over for Highlands Ranch, especially the west side of Highlands Ranch. The worst of it right now is moving its way into South Aurora, east side of Centennial, so that'd be east of 25. The worst of it's about to cross Parker Road. So Parker, for our friends in far northern Douglas County, on up by Parker, north side of Parker, east side of Centennial, out by the kind of Arapahoe racetrack. That area, that's where the worst of it is right now. Again, South Aurora, you get north of I-70, we're basically okay. Downtown Denver, I can tell you, I'm looking outside our windows, our studios here at Spear and Logan, and we've just got a few raindrops, a little bit of just light rain right now for us here in downtown Denver. Commerce City, same idea as well. Again, it's a very, very different situation the further south you go. But a bit of good news is that the worst of it is starting to trudge just out of Highlands Ranch, out of Lone Tree, and out of these Centennial areas. But in some cases here, folks, I just mentioned this, we've already seen over 2 inches worth of rainfall in less than an hour. In some cases, we saw that in about 15 to 20 minutes. That is just a ton of water for our parts of the country. All right, let's kind of walk you over through the next couple of hours. I've been talking about what we're seeing right now. Next few hours, this is roughly what it's going to look like statewide. And notice how we start to concentrate those lines of storms into central and eastern Adams and Arapahoe and Elbert counties. We're starting in the next hour or two to push the worst of things out into the eastern plains, out of the Denver area, and more into the eastern part of the state. By about 6, 7 o'clock, the worst of it from about Fort Morgan and Lyman points east of those two places. And then we're just dealing with what I've been calling good old-fashioned good rain. This is the rain we like as we head through the rest of the night. It's just light to moderate rain. It's good for the drought. It means you don't have to water your lawn. It means just about all good things. It's great sleeping weather. I mean, I know weather's subjective, but I'll say this from my seat, this is basically all good news once we get past this initial round of showers and storms. And then tomorrow we'll probably wake up to a fair bit of cloud cover, perhaps a few raindrops around the metro area, and certainly some raindrops on up into the mountains, but then things really do calm on down over the next little while. Closer look in here at the metro area, we could see 1 or 2 storms still develop as we head over the next little area, next little while here on the west side of the metro area. But I think for the most part, I think downtown Denver on north, the flood threat is winding down pretty quickly here. So that is some good news. It's not over yet, but I think the worst of it is likely done. I know we haven't seen a ton of it from downtown Denver on north, but the overall risk is much lower than it was, say, 2-3 hours ago. But still could see 1 or 2 storms develop. Estes Park on South and Netherland, Peak to Peak Highway there, could still see some leftover storms. And then again tonight, once we get to 7, 8, 9 o'clock, it's just good old-fashioned plain rain, the kind of rain we like, the kind of rain we want, and not the flooding rainfall that we're dealing with right now. Additional rainfall amounts on top of what we've already seen. I think that Littleton, Parker, those Parker numbers, those are overdone, that may be including some of what we're seeing right now. But we could see in some cases another 1/4 to 1/2 inch of rainfall with that light to moderate rainfall for a couple of hours tonight, and especially south and along I-70. Back over here, one more look at the radar before we get on out of here. And by the way, send you on over to 9 News at 4 o'clock. The radar picture right now, again, busiest on the south and now east sides of the metro area, where we're getting some of that very heavy rainfall impacting Aurora, Parker, as well as the east side of Centennial, and just kind of out by the maybe Buckley Air Force Base on south, seeing some of that right now. Maybe the Lowry neighborhood of Denver as well, as the DTC, still seeing some pretty heavy rainfall at this point as well. But you get north and west of 225, and things are really improving. So some good news to pass along there. And the worst of it now starting to shift to Parker Road on east. So for our friends in western Arapahoe, as well as northeastern Douglas County, this is really the main threat is going to be for you guys right now. But already seen a ton of water out into Foxfield, as well as Castle Rock, Castle Pines, and that area. So hopefully it gives you an idea about what we've seen and what we can expect here over the next couple of hours. If not, meteorologist Kathy Sabin, Chief Meteorologist Kathy Sabin's on at 9 News at 4 o'clock right now. It's just getting underway. And then also we've got Field Meteorologist Corey Reppenhagen, who's been tracking these storms as well. So a lot of different resources here at 9 News to make sure that you're kept up to date with the very latest on a pretty serious situation here across the South Metro area with this much rainfall over the last hour or two. Once again, I'm meteorologist Chris Bianchi. Thanks for joining us here on 9 News Plus, and we'll have continued updates for you for the rest of the evening.